Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
Greetings, programs. I'm Jake, and as always, this time I shouldn't say as always, we're being joined by Austin, who is here, and Joe, who is here. From Death Ray Designs. And guys, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Joe, you go first.
Okay. Hi, I'm Joe. I am a person who wears many hats at Death Ray, mostly a support role, and sometimes I'll help with some design work, and I love selling stuff at shows. That's sort of where I'm at.
Cool.
Joe is like an emotional. I don't want to say the word animal
mascot?
here.
I'm kind of a
there you go. You're a mascot.
Yeah.
Emotional support mascot. Cool.
Yes.
Kid Death Ray, you're the company mascot.
I mean, I caught myself on fire with a laser, so yeah.
Fantastic.
that was a thing. And I'm Austin. I'm the lead designer and CEO for Death Ray Designs. Cool. I also wear many hats. Everything from accounting to customer service to design work to production. I do a little bit of everything, and some things I'm the only one with that hat, so lots of fun and lots of multidisciplinary stuff to go around. So anyway,
in a small business, you always have to do multiple things. Like I 100% get it, and I know Dave does as well. So
yep.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I don't have an emotional support Joe.
You could.
In my business. I could? Sweet. I'll just give you a call.
Hit me up anytime. Just hit me up anytime.
Hey, Joe,
it's fine.
what do you think of this? This is making me sad.
It's my specialty.
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. That'll be great. I think we might have skipped a little bit there, but basically Death Ray Designs, a wonderful company out of North Carolina. Is that correct?
Correct.
Cool. So Death Ray being a wonderful laser and designs being the awesome products that you guys make. So laser cut MDF is where you started with it all, and you've expanded into a few other, quite a few other products that we'll talk about in a few minutes. Just quickly in the chat, we've got Dave Hummel here. Hi, Dave. He's very happy that he made it to the start of the show, which is really cool. Dave usually joins us around 8 o'clock, but it's great that you're here now. Jeff is here, the Old Wolf. Matt Bowles is here. Hey, Matt. I think I saw you super briefly on Sunday at Games and Stuff. You guys were talking about, Jake, you mentioned that you picked up Imperium Maledictum.
Yep.
So TS, who wrote a bunch of that.
Yeah, dude, he's the man. I know he was hanging out there.
Yeah, he was at the store. He was giving a bit of a chat, and that's like Matt was in the crowd that TS was talking to, so I didn't get to say hi to Matt. But
dude, he's TS is such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's super cool. Definitely good. We got Josh as well. We got Jez Hunt as well. Fantastic. Hey, Jez. Fantastic. Matt is going to apply for the position. So
nice. There you go, Dave.
I'm an emotional support, Matt.
Nice.
Be awesome. And Ryan Carnes is here. Excellent. Hello, Ryan. Very cool. So, guys, one of the things we usually do at the start of the show is we have a quick chat about what we've been up to ourselves in our personal hobby. So if we've played any games, if we've painted any miniatures, if we've made ludicrous purchases that perhaps we should not have. We chat about those. So,
it's not a thing.
Jake,
we won't talk about that.
Jake, we'll kick off with you. We'll go around the circle. So,
right.
Starting with Jake.
I got a little bit of painting done. I worked on the blade guards that I'm trying to get done for our Tale of Four Warlords.
Yep.
I built a couple models, and then I tracked down some pieces that I need, and then played a little bit of games. Played some BattleTech RPG. Joe was there; he can vouch for that. And I picked up
really fun.
And I picked up this. Speaking of this,
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that was the extent, and then a lot of it was trying to map out 1-to-1 sized scenery and terrain for our new store. So I was meeting with contractors and painters and flooring guys, and it way less fun, but like when it's done, it'll be good.
Yeah. Nice. That'd be awesome. Cool. Austin, what have you been up to?
So let's see here. This past weekend, I mean, Joe's going to repeat a little bit of this. We were at Southern Assault, which is a big and getting bigger BattleTech event run by Fortress Miniatures and Games here in North Carolina. He does some great work running that event, and just to brag on the local event a little bit, we actually got some Catalyst people there at the show this time, so that was kind of cool to see them come out.
Awesome.
It was a good time. It was a lot. It was 6 games of Alpha Strike in 2 days, and Joe and I, for the most part, were helping just run things. But honestly, that's kind of the thing that Joe and I like at this point. Like, we're like, yeah, don't let's not necessarily get stuck into a very long form tournament, but like we are there to like run logistics and do all the other sort of ancillary stuff. I don't know. There's like a weird sort of joy that brings me, at least, just to like.
I like
make things
shows.
work.
Yeah, I like working shows.
Yeah.
Even a small tournament like that, and by small I mean it was like 80 people.
Yeah. By the time you take into account all the staff and people who came that weren't actually playing, I mean, for a small venue thing, I mean, 100 people. That's a
cool.
Decent number.
You can definitely get a great buzz, like
yeah,
from that many people. A nice hum in the room.
Sure.
And it's everybody's there focused on one kind of thing, which was BattleTech at the time.
Yeah.
It was.
Was it all Alpha Strike?
Yeah, it was all Alpha Strike.
All
okay,
Alpha
wow.
Strike.
Okay.
Yeah. It was. Yep. That's it.
13 hours one day and like 6 hours, 7 hours the next. Whew.
Wild.
Yeah.
As far as hobby things go right now, I'll tell you like a weird one, and this is sort of like a meta hobby thing. That is, I guess, in a way, it is a hobby, but it's more one step back. Like I've harvested one of every type of paint bottle that I have, and I've been taking the calipers to them to basically make 3D versions of them so that I can better organize all of my paints because it's getting out of control. So it is a hobby of hobbies at this point.
So are we designing a new paint rack?
Well, at least for me, like I don't know if it'll turn into a product, but like I need to clean this room up. Joe's seen the disaster that is this room. This corner looks really clean and nice, but that's because
did a good job.
I've been throwing away a lot of stuff.
Excellent. We'll have to talk afterwards. We carry at our store. We carry a lot of stuff from this Polish company called Hobby Zone.
Okay,
it's really fun because like they do MDF stuff, but they started off as a company that makes like boat parts. I think.
Okay.
If you were doing like canoeing or whatever, if you were making your own kayak, like for people that make their own like boats and stuff, that's kind of how they got started. And then they started doing like more and more pieces. And then some of the guys are hobbyists. So then they made a whole bunch of like non-hobby specific products. So they make like paint racks and like desk organizers and that sort of stuff. Like they don't make any hobby products. They just make like
the organizers,
hobby like
accessories
stuff.
Accessories.
Yeah.
Neat. Okay.
And like they do like they make like I forget what the diameter is, but they make like the standard like Vallejo / Army Painter / like the skinny bottle ones, and then they make Citadel ones, and then they make ones that are like generic, so it's just blank, so you can put whatever you want. They're just little shelves. Right. There's no like sort of holders. It's just like rows.
Yep.
Their stuff's cool, but yeah, like let's talk. I love their stuff, but getting it from Poland is a bit of a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Let's see. Any crazy hobby purchases recently? Not really. Like more times than not. Like do I now?
You're like other than the Ferrari.
Ferrari.
I wish. No, like I've sort of found myself in this position now where I spend so much time developing products that like I end up getting a lot of like hobby satisfaction from just the process of like, oh, I sculpted a thing. All right, it's time to paint one, Yep. And even if it's technically work, because it's going to be photographs for something, a package, a web page or whatever. It's like, I still get to kind of do whatever I want. So it's fine.
Sure. Yep. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we used to spend a lot of time at his house painting, when I first met Austin many years ago. And we still get the chance to do that once in a while, get together and work on when we've got a new release, new miniatures. We'll sit down and put on a podcast and knock them out. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. Awesome.
So that's about it for me. So, Joe, what you got?
What do you think, Joe?
Well, okay, so as far as purchases are concerned, I did spend a little money this weekend. It didn't help that I was working the storefront for the tournament.
Yep.
Bobby Ash, who runs the tournament and owns Fortress, has a huge collection of BattleTech stuff. And he also buys like people's collections of things when they want to get out of the hobby or whatever. So he had a lot of legacy items and new items, and I probably dropped 150, something like that. Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Some miniatures. I got a bag of some of the old plastic mechs. I figured I could give them a quick paint job and have them as like demo games or giveaway stuff. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I bought a copy of Shadowrun 3rd Edition, which was sitting in the bottom of a bin.
Right.
Is that the one with the original with the Larry Elmore drawing?
The one where he's like on the gantry and it's the ogre and he's shooting a gun and there's some thing happening. Yeah,
Oh, no,
I believe
it's
so.
not
Are
that
you
one.
talking about the one, the old drawing with the cutout jean shorts and the it's like a alleyway with a it's like a I don't know. Yeah,
There's like an elf. There's like an elf with gray hair and like he's got like the cyber jacks in the back of his hand. And then there's like there's the Native American guy who has like the buzz cut.
Yeah.
He walks and he's shooting down the corner.
And there's like a car somewhere on the side. Yeah,
that's a great Larry Elmore piece.
Joe, did I tell you that I ran into Larry Elmore at it was Gen Con probably like 6 years ago or something like that. He just was like with some people. I think it might have been with some of the guys from Secret Weapon. And it was either that or I don't remember who it was. I won't sit here and try to dredge all that up. But it was one of those weird things where I'm just like, wait a minute, you're like Larry Elmore, like that one, like the famous Red Dragon on the D&D cover. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna sit here and hear your stories.
Dude, he is one of the nicest guys. Like I've met him twice, and he is such a nice guy. But on top of that, you're like, he is so fantastically talented. Like he's such a great artist. So many of his drawings are so iconic. You're like, oh, that's from Dragonlance Book 2, like Dragons of Winter Night, and like, oh, that's like you were saying, oh, that's from the Gold Box Expert Edition. Like he has so many pieces that are great. So.
Oh yeah.
The other thing that I'm looking at doing right now is I've been digging through my pretty extensive at this point collection of the new BattleTech plastics and vehicles, because I'm in this gosh darn Mech Warrior game on Monday nights, and I thought it would be cool to paint up the player's lance. It's an extended lance, just to have them as a thing in my collection. So that's the other thing that I'm working on. I've got to nail down exactly.
6 mechs. It's only 6.
It's only 6 mechs in a vehicle, right? Yeah, we can do that.
Easy.
So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. That's cool. And of
And
course,
you, Dave?
me, I am not playing in that Mech Warrior game, but that's
For
okay
shame.
because I don't know a lot about the lore of the world. I'd be terrible. I'd be like,
It
when are
sucks you in.
we getting in
It's
our
a
mechs?
good
When are we
world.
fighting? When are we fighting?
It's basically
I'm pretty
Game
sure
of
that's what I'd be
Thrones
doing.
meets Dune. It's Game of Thrones meets Dune with giant robots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Would I be? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I've been it's been 2 weeks since we were on. We went on last week because we had Halloween. For Tale of Four Warlords, I've been working hard on that. I think the first week after we worked on that, that sort of after our first episode, I'd built the 6 tanks that I had to paint, and Jake chided me for being a little bit of an overachiever. So I took a week off and worked on some Cities of Sigmar guys.
I was waiting for you to be like,
Oh,
so I
okay.
built 6 more tanks.
No. No, I didn't do that. I built a bunch of Gravis armored guys, though. I did do that. Do you know how many pieces the backpacks on the Inceptors are?
They're like 5, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
11.
7 pieces?
11
pieces.
This backpack has 11 pieces. 11. That's the backpack
That's
alone.
That's
Individually
that's as many pieces
sprued.
as the old. That's as many pieces as the old Jess Goodwin Space Marines from the tactical box.
Oh, it's more than that. Yeah, it's more...
See here.
I think
Arm,
that's
arm.
like more than the
Yeah.
actual the rest of the guy himself.
It's a little
Head,
ridiculous.
shoulder, arm, chest, torso, gun. 8?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's so many pieces.
So absolutely crazy. But yeah, so I've been working on those. I've got a picture of the Impulsor later on in the show, but I thought I'd show you guys quickly this.
It looks really good. Yeah, I was asking you before we started what you were doing to get that cool bronze. It's really good looking bronze.
Yeah, so it's pretty nifty.
Dave? What did you do? Did you undercoat it with something?
With undercut the bronze or
Yeah.
yeah, it's basically so it's prime the whole thing black, frame those plates black or anything that's going to be the bronze black, and then Tinny Tin from Vallejo.
10.
Dave's favorite color.
It's probably slipped off my favorite color. I'm not sure what my
Really?
favorite
Oh,
color
wow.
is now. I'm not
All
sure.
right.
I'm kind of in between favorite colors and bronze for that.
Yes.
And then
Minotaur.
where is it? It's on the table somewhere. The shining silver from the Army Painter. So a little bit of that mixed in for the final edge highlights on it. But we'll have a closer look at those next week. Because we've got our episode 2 of the Tale for Warlords next week.
Yeah, it's going to be like next week. It's going to be like, what did you paint? It's going to be like, I painted 5 tanks. Jake, what did you paint? I painted 5 blade guard.
I'm excited to see your 5 blade guard.
5 models or 5 models, bud.
They are.
Sure, I guess.
You got to take the victory where you can.
Exactly. If you'd painted 5 Titans, that would still count as 5.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's still only 1.
yeah, it's still only 1. Still only counts as 1.
Yep. So I did that, and I played a couple of games of Silver Bayonet. Really enjoying that. Yeah, really enjoying that system. It's really good. Yeah, it's there are nice. There are subtle enough differences between war bands. If people are playing, as I'm playing the French war band, other people in the group are playing. We've got a Russian, we've got Austrians, we've got British, Spanish, another French, and another British, I think. But it's kind of a crazy game where you start the game sort of opposing each other, and you're rushing to get to clue markers. But when you get to the clue markers, sometimes those clues might be supernatural beast that's trying to tear all of you apart. So it's kind of like, we'll fight each other, supernatural beasts appear, we'll take a break, kill the supernatural beasts, and then go back to fighting each other. So it's a really interesting dynamic during the game. But yeah, it's definitely good. I'll have games 5 and 6 of the campaign tomorrow night. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I remember chatting with Ash when he was finalizing, I think, the manuscript on that, but I haven't actually had a chance to like sit down and play yet. It seemed like a really interesting system, and the theme was really nice. And I know that he was being like super, super, super careful to like make sure that this wasn't just like that he was respectful of all the like lore and legends that are of things in the Americas, pre-colonial era.
So Ash wrote the Canada supplement for it, and I think I had a chat with him at Adepticon about that as well, and we're playing the sort of the baseline one, so it's all European sort of base, but I think it'll be very cool to jump into that Canadian one and see how well he's worked through that sort of.
And the interesting thing is it's you often get fantasy elements in a fantasy like a medieval setting, and you get them in modern sometimes, but you don't see a lot of like 1750s, 1770s content. Historical fantasy, and it makes it a really unique product.
Yeah. It's a very it's a fun time to be messing around with it, and there's particularly now there's loads of plastic Napoleonic models around that people can get hold of. But yeah, it's definitely cool. It's fun system. But yeah, all good. Just quickly jump back in the chat, rush back to see what everybody's been up to.
A bunch of people jumped on. Chris Cumming jumped on.
Cool.
James Broadbent jumped on.
So you say Josh Potter's hobby for the last 2 weeks has been hosting paint and takes, spreading the sunshine and minis. Fantastic. That is awesome, Josh. Great to see. Dave Hummel had a lot of fun at the Midmo Maelstrom last weekend, watching the tournament, 58 players. Good times. Matt Ball said, when you make the hobby your business, it's harder to find time to enjoy the hobby.
That's true.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, you just got to have that mindset of work, try and make work also fun.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. Jake, you said Jim's there, Jim Broadbent. Welcome. Of course, Ryan said, Matt, that's why I work in an industry where I have no real excitement or interest in. I'm good at it, but when it's time to go home, work stays at work.
Good, it's the way it should be.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. What else we got?
That's rad. Josh says he got to show his sketchbook to Larry Elmore at his first Origins.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Very cool. Excellent. Jim said if Jake can get the 5 Blade Guard done, I'll have the 6 Iron Warrior Plague Marine Terminators I'm working on done. Fantastic. Next week, we're gonna make sure you post photos of them in the group so we can check them out. I was also talking to Jim. Make sure Jim posts.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure.
And Patrick says it's almost done with my Seraphim squad. Fantastic. Looking forward to seeing
I was talking to Ben, and I think I figured out what my issue is when I paint now.
Yep.
I've painted this way for years, and I've always been like, it's weird because like, it's not that I don't like painting.
Yep.
It's that I like a very specific part of painting.
The red. You love the red.
No. So like,
okay, sorry.
building and converting is like my favorite thing. It kind of slows me down with the new model kits, especially all the monopo stuff, because I have to like cut them off in a certain group and like they only fit together a certain way, and like so that kind of bugs me. But then I get them done, and then once they're built and primed, I'm like, okay, cool. It's the whole next section of blocking everything out and putting in all my base colors and all my normal tones. I don't enjoy that. That's to me that is just work. But then the last 20% where I get to like paint lenses and do like lens flare and eyes and like details and squad markings, like that's the stuff that I love.
Right.
But it's getting them to that. It's getting that middle like 70% done. That I'm just like, it's like pulling teeth. I'm just like, I don't want to do this. Like today, I had to like make myself paint. I was like, okay, I'm like, I'll just do all the cloth. So I did all the cloth, and then once I was done, I was like, oh, okay, I'll just do all the helmets. I did all the helmets, and I was like, all right, I'll do all the shoulder plates. I did all the shoulder plates, and then I was like, okay, like I've had enough of these, and then I had a bunch of work to do.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow I'm gonna try to like do my next layers and knock all that out. But I know that by the time I get to like the weekend, I'll have them to the point where I get to do all the fun detail stuff, and that's what I want.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know if I need to like.
I can relate to
to
the especially when you're trying something new, or you're trying a new, like if you're not doing an established scheme you've done before, and you've got an idea about how you're going to do it, but you're not completely sure how it's going to come together, and then you get into that like, oh, what have I done stage, and you just got to go a little further, and it will come together. It snaps into place, but that stage can be a little daunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm basically doing an offshoot of a Blood Angels chapter. I can paint Blood Angels in my sleep. Like I've done red armor for decades. So like I can paint them all day. And this time I'm doing Flesh Eaters, so they're a little different.
They're a little darker colored.
Yeah, they're a little darker red, and then they have like a lot of white accents. So there's like white stripes on their heads, and their chapter badge is white. And I'm doing all my Blade Guard, all the veterans all have like white helmets. And it's fun, but I'm also being very careful. Like I don't want them to just look like Blood Angels, so I'm avoiding like tons of gold and like there's no yellow on them. So I don't really use a lot of black either. So there's no. It's a very crisp paint scheme. Like there's only like 3 colors in it, and that's it. But yeah, like I said, it's like I'm just like, oh, I gotta paint all these red guys, and I gotta block out all their guns. And I'm just like, oh, I need to just outsource this. Like, hey, can you paint it? Like, give it to a friend of mine who's a good painter. Be like, hey, can you just bring these up to table quality? And then I get to be like, let me sprinkle my sauce and make these like.
I'm a little bit worried that you sprinkle your sauce with your hands. It's like, drippy fingers.
Let me salt these up for you.
Oh, so like season them is what you're telling me. Okay, right.
Oh, okay. I think it was sauce. I think it was.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You don't want to be sure. You get a little bit of sauce in your hand, then I can control how much I get on there.
Awesome.
The special sauce in this case is blood for the blood god, and I'm going to sprinkle that all over these guys.
There you go.
Fantastic. Chris Cummings said he's just finished up 5 assault cannon legionaries, and ready to start 10 phalanx warders. Lots to paint before Heresy at Adepticon.
Nice.
Sure. Matt Bowles says, Dave, what city are you basing your Cities of Sigmar AOS army on? They are from the Greywater Fastness. Mainly because I haven't painted too many sort of yellow-based armies, so there's some yellow work in there. And also, they were the ones that kind of came up with the Castellite formation, which is the new formation that they use, basically the cannons, handgunners, kind of thing.
The old world yellow empire. Was it known?
There's a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't Marienburgers wear yellow too? I think like yellow and blue, or
it does pop up in a few different places, but yeah, there's known as yellow and black. As you said, the Marienburgers that they painted up for Mordheim were red, yellow, and blue.
Okay.
But red and blue with yellow accents is also Altdorf. So
Depending upon how it's laid out. Yeah.
yeah, yep. Depending on how you paint it there.
I always loved those old Landsneck, styled Empire soldiers. That's what really captured my imagination with Empire. And the Cities of Sigmar stuff looks really, really good. But it's not got that same.
It doesn't have
feel?
the puff and slash kind of
Right. Yeah.
the look.
No.
They're a bit.
But they do look really good.
Cool. Yeah.
I think the
definitely
Cities
like
of Sigmar to me, when you look at them, it's less like the. So the puff and slash thing, it's very like 1600s.
1600s
Whereas like
Germany,
Cities of
yeah.
Sigmar has like 1500s vibe. It's like like heavy cast iron like helms and stuff, and they look like a bunch of like just dirty, ugly peasants. Like it's kind of great. Like they have a great vibe.
Averland. JP says Averland.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Averland. Yes, Averland. That's what I was thinking of.
Good call there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew there was a couple that have yellow, but yeah, Avalon I think is like all yellow.
Oh, you mean like Avalon Sunset?
Yeah,
That's the one.
the
Yeah,
yellow
yeah.
paint.
I was thinking of that pot. Yeah.
just
You've
like
got
that.
right there.
That's the army. That's just a model from the army.
Right. Yes. Look at it up close.
That's him. You just got to get a bunch of those and put them on a base.
It is a good one.
For a
I
yellow,
like the colour.
it covers really well. For a yellow, it really does.
It does.
It doesn't string up that much.
It is really good for sure. Awesome. Fantastic. What else we got there? Okay. Yep. There we go. Matt Ball says he's working on a Bioball right now after the gargoyles. We've got the gargoyles in a photo later in the show, so we'll check those out. Nice. But now let's turn our attention back to Death Ray design.
Oh.
What I'm going to do, guys, is actually we'll have a bit of a chat first, and then I'll start pulling up some of the photos that you sent me, Austin. But when did Death Ray design become a thing? When did it become an entity that was creating things and putting them out in the world?
So it started off as something entirely different. And I'll give you the quick spiel here.
Sure.
I think it was sometime in like 2009 or so. Started doing some YouTube content. I think it was 2009. It might have been a little later than that. But started doing some painting tutorials. They were super basic. And honestly, it was as much about me forcing myself to learn how to paint by saying, okay, well, you're going to have to teach somebody how to do it in a video. So now you need to learn how to wet blend, or now you need to know how to use glazes, or whatever the assignment that I gave myself for the day was.
Yeah.
So figure it out enough that you can do a video on it. Shortly after that, and the channel that started off on was Brush for Hire, which at the time was not really true. I was not taking commissions. It was just a fun name.
Right.
And so shortly after that, I'd probably put out, 15, 20 videos or so at that point. I saw that Mini Wargaming was looking for content creators to start off their paid vault subscription stuff. Right. They already had one person making painting video content. That was Chris Bellew. And they were looking for somebody else. So I threw my hat in the ring and said, hey, here's some of the stuff that I've been working on. I'm getting better all the time. If this looks like, something that you'd be interested in, I'd be happy to, basically take on some of the content creation stuff for you guys. So we had a chat. They said, yeah, let's do that. So I worked for them for a few years. And then when they decided to bring the rest of their content creation stuff in-house, talking with Dave, he said, would you want to do commission work stuff for painting? And I said, yeah, it sounds interesting. So he more or less helped jumpstart a channel and a fan base for Brush for Hire. And we got some clients, and it was nothing substantial at the beginning, but I did have more eyeballs on what it was that we were doing. And I think in 2011 or so, we started transitioning more towards manufacturing. I think it was in 2012 we finally bought a laser cutter and started working on making, first thing, like tokens and things, and then I just wasn't excited by that. And I said, screw that. We're gonna do something more interesting. We're gonna make some terrain. So after having this laser cutter for all of, I think it was like 4 to 6 weeks or so, we set out to do a Kickstarter campaign. We sold some terrain. I think we made about like $5,000 or $6,000 or something like that. I more or less took that money, put it all towards a more industrial sized cutter, paid for the rest of the cutter myself, and then basically out of pocket paid for the production run of like materials and spent my time doing the cutting and the packing and shipping and all that stuff. So that really helped bankroll getting our first like proper industrial cutter. I think it was 2 or 3 years later, after we had done a bunch more designs, we came out with Rapid Vanguard, Black Site X, and something else, I think, in that same Kickstarter. I think it might have just been those two. But it was a series of like modular gantryways and platforms with stairs and ladders and things. And then also Rapid Vanguard that was based on a lot of the Space Marine terrain from Dawn of War.
Right. I think I remember you had the bunkers that were kind of similar shape to the like Rhino sides or Land Raider sides, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I'm pretty sure that you used some of those in one of your terrain books, if I remember correctly. I think some of that stuff made it into, it might have been the first one. There was a terrain book that you did.
With
some years ago. I think it was.
Possibly. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Point being, we did that, and that turned out well enough that we basically did the same thing again. I took more or less all of that money and threw it at some new laser cutters, like bigger, more industrial ones. We got a location that we could actually set them up in. And we're still in that location now. It is a massive building in the middle of an old tobacco farm.
Okay.
And it is just out in the middle of nowhere.
Very North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, some people might not love the fact that, their workshop is in the middle of nowhere, but it's a fantastic place. We've got lots of space and nobody for us to bother with all of our noise and smoke and whatnot.
Shenanigans.
So fast forward a bit to basically right around the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, and we're already thinking about like diversifying what it is that we're doing. And one of the things that we're leaning more and more towards is, well, if I can learn how to do some 3D sculpting, maybe we can do some printing, even if it's just print something, make a mold, cast some parts. But the first printer that we buy is just hellaciously expensive. And it is in a class that does not make sense for what we're doing. Like, this is like a $4,000 printer.
Right.
Like, this thing is not what we needed. Like, it's great. It's a good printer, but I mean, the printers that we use for actual production run stuff are like a tenth of that, and they do fantastic work, and they're just about disposable. Like, they break, and you're like, well, I got 4,000 print hours out of this. That it's made its money. It's parts now. It goes in the parts cache. But fast forward a few years, here we are and getting toward the end of 2023, and a very large portion of what we do now is miniatures production, not just for our original line of 6mm stuff, but also a game in 6mm that we made with Ash Barker, and also print production capacity for a few other indie game companies, that we do production runs and packaging and drop shipping and all kinds of other stuff. So a big piece of what we do now is miniatures productions, which I'm absolutely thrilled with because as much as I love terrain, it's like the thing that you always end up being the most excited about is the minis.
Right. Cool. So is that a thing where you have a what am I trying to say? If somebody has a miniature line they want to bring to market, can they talk to you about being that producer for them?
They're doing that with us now. They're helping us with Warzone.
Oh, awesome. I didn't know that. Jake didn't tell me.
What? Get out of here.
Yeah. All the miniatures that you guys had at Adepticon this past year for previews were ones that we did like pre-production run on. I don't think that they'd mind us basically shouting them out too, but one of the other companies that we work with closely is Enemy Spotted Studios. They produce a couple of games. One is Kill Wager, which I think is being rebranded to Blackout, which is a sci-fi futuristic military skirmish game, and then a more modern military skirmish game called In Country. And I think it was just this past Adepticon that we got in touch with them, and we do a lot of print-on-demand stuff for them now, and a lot of packaging and getting stuff over the finish line to market. So it's a lot of stuff around miniatures now is sort of our focus, and I'm really enjoying that part.
Awesome.
Your stuff's really good too. I have Dave and I talked about it right after when we did our post Adepticon recap show. I picked up the Authority Tracked box, and I got Joe helped me pick out all the asset stuff I needed. So I picked up like little thing of like trucks and like the tanks and stuff. Like the quality of your prints are so nice, and I'll be the first to admit I normally do not like 3D printed stuff or anything like that. Your stuff is so clean and the quality is so good. It doesn't really feel like I'm working with a 3D sculpt. It feels like a legit model kit. It's just they're really, really high quality pieces, and they're just done really well. I love the way I think was the Eisenbach. That thing is just cherry. I was like, I can imagine this thing just like rolling over buildings, just crushing everything. It's just awesome.
I mean, 3D printing has come such a long way now that I could. There's definitely some skill and some knowledge and some engineering that goes into taking our models from really just basic 3D printing to an actual sellable product. But to be honest, like it gets easier all the time. Like both the chemistry from the resin and the quality and consistency of the printers is getting better and better and better. 3D printing is really a fantastic production method for indie companies at this point. It's a thing that people shouldn't be afraid of buying because the product can be very, very good.
I would put a big fat asterisk next to that.
No.
You are correct. There's a lot of it out there. There's not a lot of good stuff that's out there. Like everybody and their mom is like, well, I'm just going to buy a 3D printer and I'll print all my Space Marines. And then they come into the store and I'm like, what happened? It looks like you put your guys in the microwave. The quality is just terrible, or people don't know what they're doing. One of the hardest things I think for people, and I'm sure you guys get this because Steelworth does what, 6 mil?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So I think one of the hardest things is people will be like, oh, I went online and I backed this random Kickstarter for STLs. And you're like, cool, so what are you going to do? And it's like, I'm going to print up all of this terrain. And then they'll print it and they'll go, oh, it's the wrong size. And because they don't know how to use the software, or they don't own the right software, they'll like guess to resize it. Like Brian was talking to us, Brian Steele from who works with us at Warzone, and he works for the guys at Evil Genius Games. So I don't know if you guys remember at Adepticon, we had what's his name, the Mortificator, and Brian had like, been like, oh, I'll just get this guy ready to go, and I'm gonna go to bed and whatever. So he like get him ready to go and print. Okay, cool. And he like went and like made a sandwich and like watched TV and like went to bed and got up the next day, and it was like, oh, it says it's out of resin. That's weird. So he like refilled the reservoirs and like went and took his kids to school, and then came back and was like, oh, it's still working. That's really weird. So instead of printing a 28 millimeter Mortificator, it printed a guy that was like that's bigger than a GI Joe guy. It's like this big. And I was like, he was like, oh, I didn't realize like I didn't like reset the scale. That stuff happens all the time because people, the average customer doesn't know what they're doing. Like they have no idea.
Yeah.
So do not sell yourself short. You guys make a great product and you guys are good at what you do. It's not the same as like, oh yeah, sure, my buddy Kevin owns a 3D printer. He'll just, it's like, no, like, go nuts, do whatever you want. Like, make your mom a coffee cup, but like, you do not want to just let somebody make stuff with a 3D printer. That's not.
That's fair. That's fair.
Thing.
You know, I will say one other thing on the process that I think that a lot of people gloss over that is really, really important. Is just the post-process phase. We had so many problems early on with getting our models cleaned after printing, and then dried properly and then cured properly, so that they had like a good surface finish at the end and things weren't sticky and nothing was like gummy anywhere. And the details weren't lost because you had uncured resin stuck to the surface when you ran it through the cure. We ended up we went through so many pieces of equipment trying to find the right stuff. And then for our UV curer, we ended up having to engineer and build a custom like UV oven for these things because that was the biggest choke point that we had. Like all of the hobby level curing machines are underpowered, very slow, very small. And it's totally fine if you're like, I'm a guy with a printer and I'm going to print a couple of models and I'm going to paint them and then I'm going to print some more models and I'm going to paint them and so on and so forth. But it's like, I need to have 800 models printed, post-processed, cured, and packed by the end of the day. You've got to have something that can do that. So like we have what feels like a tanning bed for a toddler, basically.
Right.
So you got this giant box thing with these big clear sheets that get rammed into it full of parts, and then you hit the button and like it's got to all be sealed up because it's the surface of the sun in there for like about 60 seconds.
Wow.
But
like someone cracked the Ark of the Covenant and it's just pouring dangerous light out that you shouldn't look at with your eyeballs.
Yeah.
I always
Look
imagine
away,
you guys have,
Marion.
like, one of those old school like belt-fed pizza ovens where you like put it in and it like goes on that like metal track thing and it goes into the oven and then it comes up the other side. Like I was like,
so
some guy like with a coal shovel just like feeding miniature parts into it.
So I actually I went through the process of trying to figure out like could we do that? And the issue is that the belt, unless you somehow made a transparent belt, you can't cure the bottom side of it. So like either you've got to have it like sort of vibrate and rattle the parts around as it's going, which is not going to be super accurate. You could do like a weird like acrylic tank tread thing where it's like, you know, flat pieces in a belt.
Yep.
Cool.
And that would be neat, but like talking to people who are better at engineering than I am about this product, they were like, yeah, that's probably like a $15,000 to $20,000 thing. And I'm like, you know what? No.
We're good.
Hand me
We're
the
good.
tanning bed.
We got the toddler cooker 9000 over here.
Fantastic.
That's amazing.
Just quickly, we've had Stephen Ryder join us, Tabletop Super Show. Just getting off work, wanted to pop in and say hi to everyone. Hi, Stephen. Welcome.
Hello.
So just briefly before I had a picture up, which is one of the, I think it's Steel Rift image. Let me get that back up. It's the one with the, so you get the smaller sort of vehicles, APCs, and some other wheeled vehicles, and some, I guess, some light mechs, large suits.
Yeah.
Let me see.
It's corporate. It's corporate versus authority, I think, and you've got some of the like the transport things, and then you've got some of the.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it up on the feed now. Yeah, so this was one of the release photos that we did for our first expansion to the game called Burning Horizons. And one of the major sort of aspects that it added to the game system was some onboard support assets. In the core game, we had offboard support assets, and they were kind of a stopgap measure to give us some things that were lower point value to kind of fill in gaps in your list. And those things were like, orbital lasers or long-range artillery, stuff that wouldn't actually be physically on the board. So our onboard support assets were things like, roving bands of or like convoys of vehicles with weapons or minesweepers or little dune buggies that were outriders to go, put a laser target designator on something, as well as our ultralight HEV squadrons, which I absolutely love to death. They are just the meanest, nastiest little buggers, and they're sort of a force multiplier. We've got them limited to like only one squadron per army right now, just because I think that
They're really good.
it would be bananas if you could take a bunch of them. They're cheap, but they end up getting in close and supporting anything that's shooting at the thing that they're near. So they do a lot of like, basically distracting, harassing, and they can also hold their own for, I don't know, like a punch or two in close combat. But as soon as they get kicked, they're dead. Like something turns around and stomps on them, they're toast. And the one other support asset that I don't think is in... Oh, actually, part of it kind of is. There's a little bunker in the background there that is where the infantry pop out of.
Okay.
I like that one in concept, but honestly, I think that we need to do some more development to add some things to like the way that those function. Not necessarily replacing that particular listing, but like give it some more options that it can take. Because I think that one is a bit underpowered compared to like how tasty the ultralight HEVs and the vehicles are.
The idea with that bunker, if you look at the design of it, it's got locations for sky. Like if you had like a skyhook helicopter, could lift it up and place it down on the ground, and then it expands up. It opens up to deploy infantry.
Okay.
That was the concept anyway. So you see, it's got little ratchets on the side, and the
Yeah.
I may have had a hand in helping to design that one.
Nice.
You did like most of the bones of that one, man. I just came through and like tidied up some things at the end.
Yeah,
Don't sell yourself short.
Figure out, yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to switch over to the next photo we got, which is I think some of the larger mechs fighting through some streets. We've got some Quonset huts in the background there.
Gotcha. I think that one, yeah, there it is. Okay. That is the some more corporate versus authority there. The white and teal mechs in the background there are part of our bipedal corporate line. We actually just released at Nova some multi-limbed corporate, so like quads and six-legged dudes. They're fun. And then the ones with their backs to the camera there are some of the bigger authority mechs. The ones from the original like 2-player starter, and I guess they have their own faction box too. But also shout out to Justin Hall. All that lovely terrain you see on the table there. This is basically his freshman effort at laser cut terrain, and I think it looks fantastic. Like he really knocked it out of the park. It took him a while to do it, like a painfully long time to do it, because he had a couple of like, I'm not really sure how this is going, and kind of quit working on it and came back to it, and quit working on it and came back to it. But like, I'm pleased as punch with the way that set came out.
He really got it good.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sets of
They
cars.
look good.
Yeah, it does look great.
And there's a challenge with MDF in 6mm. When you're talking about like a 40K table, the walls of a building could be 1 or 2 or 3 sections of MDF thick.
Yep.
In 6mm, it changes how you use the material and how you think about scale, because all of a sudden those walls are going to be comparative to the size difference between 28 and 6mm much thicker. So you have to design with that in mind, and he's really brought it home this time.
Yeah, because in 6 mil, like thinking about that, like 6 mil, an average 6 foot tall person should be 6 millimeters. So like a 3 millimeter thick piece of MDF is 3 feet thick.
Right.
So like a 3 foot thick wall is kind of wild already.
Yeah. Do you for that scale? Do you work with like 2 mil or 1.5 mil materials as well, like acrylics?
Those have access to that.
Okay.
We when it comes to MDF, we don't really have access.
Oh, sure.
To it.
Yeah.
The only place or the only way that we've found that we could get any 1 or 1.5 mil stock for MDF was to order a literal shipping container of it from China.
Right.
I would. This is one of those places where I would make an exception to get material from outside of the U.S. But actually, that's not really true. We have some other materials, but I try to keep things in North America generally, just for ease of sourcing things and also keeping jobs local to where we do business. So, but it's just so incredibly hard to get any smaller quantity of the stuff. So we do end up using some acrylic,
Yeah, I was going to say, what about acrylic or styrene? Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, both of those are in this picture we're looking at here. The windows are a glossy black acrylic. It's set in behind the MDF to it's a cheat, but it looks nice.
Sure, yeah.
And then those Quonset huts, the actual skin on top of those are styrene.
Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah. They are nice and flexible.
Yeah, I know that even at like 1 mil, styrene has its own challenges for cutting with lasers, but
Yeah. Doing any sort of engraving without punching through can be a bit of a challenge.
yeah.
North Carolina is known for furniture industry as well, especially the area that we're from, which is why we can get the stock that we do, because it's largely furniture use, right?
Okay.
But we just can't. We haven't had to source the thinner stuff. We'd love it though. We would love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Very nice.
awesome. Now I'm going to switch to one of the, I guess, less gaming and more cinematic shots that you sent through.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Which one did you choose?
Oh, you can.
I'm gonna have to pick up some of those Quonset huts. I do like those. Those are super cool.
The what is it? The air hangers there, the Quonset huts. Those are super affordable board fill too. I think they're like $20 for like 4 of them. So
That's very affordable board fill.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
oh yeah, this one. Yeah, I went a little crazy on the photoshopping all the OSL and everything on this one. I really had a good time with this one. This was I think it was in the original core book. It was like a long strip at the bottom of a page. And yeah, those two in particular are the medium and the heavy from the original Authority models.
I love she's a thick girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much everything from that original Authority set is really chunky and solid. The designs that we were working from on those just really caught my eye. I was looking for something that wasn't more or less, I was trying to find things that I hadn't really seen a lot of before on the tabletop. So I was trying to find something that wasn't BattleTech, that wasn't super, heavy gear or Gundam looking. It's like I want something that just has a little more like, not necessarily realism, but like, what's the word I'm looking for here? It has that aura of like possible.
Yeah,
like
it carries a lot of weight too. Like they look like they're so heavy down the bottom that like you're like, oh, these look like they could stomp around without, being a Robotech mech where they can go skating around the city and like barely have their feet on the ground. Like these things look like they go plodding down the street.
Yeah.
Mechanically functional. It's probably
mechanically functional. It does have a bit of a RoboCop feel for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that ED209
Yeah.
vibe.
You have 10 seconds to comply.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That looks great. Very nice.
Thank you.
And as Matt says there, yeah, the models are definitely more grounded than most mechs.
We're big mecha fans in general, whether that's, I've been a Battletech fan since I was a child, and anime and video games, and there's a lot of material out there and styles that you don't see in the miniature lineup. So our entire range has a lot of variation in, this faction box, this faction box, this faction box, all have a completely different design aesthetic, and that's purposeful. And that was one of the goals. So we try to take inspiration from a lot of different media, and it's turned out pretty good.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
Ryan says, not realism, but real worldism.
Right.
Yeah,
there we go.
Realish.
Sure.
It's realish.
Realish.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm going to transition to the next slide, which is one that I'm super excited about. I got excited about before the show. We were talking with you guys about it. Is the decal sheets.
Ah, yes.
So do you guys pronounce it decal or decal?
I say decal, but like if you say decal, I'm not going to be confused.
I've always said decal, but like,
Yep.
customer's right.
Yeah.
I thought Dave was messing with us last week. I've never heard anybody call it a decal. I was like, what? Like
That's
I've
an
never
English pronunciation, but
Okay.
in Australia we call them transfers. So,
yeah, I always called them
Sure.
like
It's your
a
transfers.
decal. A decal is a sticker. Like I've always called the GW ones they're water slide transfers. Like that's what they are.
That is the most technical term. Water slide transfer.
Water slide transfers. But yeah, so these are all from Steel Rift.
Mhm. Yeah. So all of our transfers are they're Steel Rift branded just because that's our sort of main miniatures line.
Sure.
But a lot of these are scaled to be usable for everything from 6 mil to 28 mil. There's definitely some things that are like, okay, yeah, that's a little too small to be putting on a 28 mil model, maybe.
Right.
But a lot of it's pretty scale agnostic. Even
the
our
flying tiger,
graffiti
the flying
is-
tiger shark mouths are awesome.
Thank you.
Those are great.
Yeah, I've seen those show up in so many places on lots of BattleTech minis, and I love it every time I see them. They look great.
Yep.
But yeah,
I love the,
one of the
that graffiti sheet that you got there. Is
yeah,
awesome.
that was the first one we did a second follow up one. I really enjoy I like our graffiti stuff, and I want to do more of it. It just takes forever
Sure.
compared to like doing numbers or hazard stripes. Each individual one of those needs a lot of attention to make it look right and function, and then on top of that we got to do a bunch of like color output testing stuff to make sure that it actually looks good on the sheet.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were so many times where, both for our own projects and for commission painters that we had worked with, we really wanted to offer custom decals. We finally got tired enough of it that we just bought the machinery to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And it has, looking back on it now that it all works and it's great, I love it.
Yep.
But there was a long time, and Joe can attest to this, that I was like about 3 seconds away from like taking a baseball bat to this printer. There were so many things that we just didn't know. We didn't know that we didn't know going into it. But we finally pulled it together, and now we have this lovely line of decals and the ability to do custom decal work really fast and easy and efficiently. And we feel like that was a really big value add that we could offer the gaming and hobby community. I know that there's other places out there that can do it, but we're we want to keep as much stuff in-house as we can and offer it at the best prices at the fastest turnaround time and all that jazz.
The other one you guys make I really like is the posters.
Yeah, the propaganda
yeah,
posters.
propaganda
That was
posters.
super cool too.
We need to do some. We need to do some gothic themed propaganda posters and some like space battle, star battle, space
Hey,
wars.
Joe. I've got like so many sketches already done.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude.
Awesome. Soon,
I need to come.
soon.
I don't go to visit enough. I don't
Yeah.
live in Greensboro anymore, so like I need to.
Joe's a
come
mountain
visit
man. He's up on the
I'm a
mountain.
mountain man now. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's awesome. No, I think the ability, like, because it's a lot of people have got so many ideas and things they want to do to make their armies, be they armies of mechs, armies of space marines, armies of whatever, unique to them. Being able to work with you guys to create something that will make it so much easier. Sheets of decals. Waiting for no response. He didn't respond. But yeah, sheets of water slide transfers. That'll be fantastic. No, I think it's definitely a great thing. And you're saying that there's a on the Death Ray Designs website. There's a
custom ones. You can do custom ones.
Yep. Now there's a handful of sort of templates that we have that are like ready to go up there. Let me just like take a quick look just so that I'm not sort of misquoting what we have up here. Yeah. We've got I think that it's like a 6 mil army set, which is like varies from like 3 to 5 mil size icons, and then a 28 mil army one that is meant for like so for 40K you've got everything from stuff small enough for like small shoulder pads to mid-sized shoulder pads to some small placements on vehicles to like large like your Rhino doors, your Land Raider door stuff, and then a 28 mil infantry one that's just 3, 5, and 6 mil, so that you've got everything from like the smallest shoulder pads, stuff like I think some of the Eldar warriors or knee pads or what have you, up to like Space Marine shoulder pads, and you get like a ton of them on the sheet. And for the sort of standard template ones, it ends up being 25 for the sheet, or it's 25 for your first sheet and then 15 for everyone after that, and you can always reorder.
That's a great price.
Previously made out ones. Yeah, it's a really affordable way to get just custom, and a ton of them, like just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Like the 28 mil, I forgot that I'd actually tagged all of them with how many's on there. Like the 28 mil infantry is like more than 900 decals on the sheet. So like, I don't know that you're really going to need a second sheet.
Buy it once and you'll have them.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a friend.
It's kind of a one-and-done operation.
I got a friend in Vermont who's working on his own custom League of Votan. And he's been messing around, like drawing up his own sort of symbols, the way that they take their whatever their name is and turn it into a series of like 3 letters. And so he's almost at that point where he's got that ready. But I'll definitely be letting him know that you guys do this.
Thank you.
That'll be the way to go. But no, fantastic. I thought that was super cool. I'm so glad you sent that photo through.
Yeah,
so glad. The next image I've got here is of the what's the word I'm looking for? So the tournament terrain setup.
Oh yeah. 123 GT. It's the let's see here. Is it the cinematic shot or like the wide board?
I've got the wide board first. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on enough of a delay that like I'm watching the thing to see like which photo is it next. 123 GT is a really slim and trim terrain system that was made for the new Leviathan tournament campaign or tournament companion document that Games Workshop put out not too terrible long ago. I guess it was a few months back, 4 or 5 months back.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And They gave some really specific measurements on, how many of what size footprints and how tall the thing should be generally. And so we put together a product based on that, and it's a ton of terrain for not a whole lot of money. And if I'm allowed to throw a little plug in here real quick,
please.
So right now, we're doing all of our sort of like lead up sales to Black Friday, doing some targeted stuff, and like today and tomorrow, we've still got a sale going on where that set is 25% off, which makes it like $67 or something like that for a table worth of terrain. So it's worth it.
Worth of terrain that is specifically what you're supposed to have according to the format.
Yep.
And we were even seeing, because we were at Nova a couple months back now.
Yeah.
The GW presence there was huge, and they had a lot of tables set up. But because of the format, the new format for their GTs, they were having to place it's like clear acrylic. Is that what it was, Austin?
Yeah.
Templates to try to mark where the terrain ends and begins, because a lot of the extra terrain in your collection, in your lineup, your all your legacy GW terrain doesn't conform to that shape and size.
Yep.
So the idea was, okay, hey, I'm a tournament organizer, I'm a shop owner, I'm a home player. I want to be able to play and practice on what is supposed to be the gold standard GT format.
Yep.
And that's what this product does. And I don't think I've seen another product do that yet.
No, they exist. They're out there.
They are?
Like,
Okay.
yeah,
But I'm not sure if they're $67 though. So
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I've squeezed every bit of Tetris ability I had into trying to get every tessellation, all of my tessellation skills to work to make this the most cut efficient thing that we could possibly make, so that it could be just as absolutely slim and trim, because nobody wants to spend a fortune on terrain. We'd love for you to spend a fortune on terrain, but we understand.
So just to reiterate there, so down in the notes below is the link to Death Ray Designs, to the website, so you can go there, check it out. What should people be clicking on when they get to that front page?
If you go to the front page, literally the first thing at the top of the page is an ad for 123 GT, saying, don't miss out, 25% off today and tomorrow. So, just click on that and it'll take you right to it.
Awesome. One other thing that I will just remember that we didn't do at the start of the show, because we got all excited about having two guests on the show, is also down in the notes below is a link to the Army Painter, who are our season sponsors for season 3. Definitely all sorts of cool stuff. I think 2 weeks ago I said that there was a package on its way. It arrived, and it actually contains stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about until...
I know what it is. I didn't sign anything.
Well, you did sign something.
I did, but not for this new stuff specifically. No, that's right. I can't talk about it.
Talk about it.
But if you snooped around online, you can probably find it, because there are other people who have talked about it and put up pictures of it.
Yep.
So
if you go and check out Tabletop Minions and Adam Loper's video recently about the Warpaint Fanatic range, you'll get a good look at that. We'll be able to talk about it in January. Adam's talking about it now, which is also super cool for everybody to get a look at that. So that's the Army Painter. They're also linked below. Thank you very much. Okay, now that we've
and we'll circle back to them at the end, but
we will indeed. But the next shot is, of course, the cinematic shot on the 123 GT terrain.
Oh, sure.
So
we don't have to linger too terribly long on that one. It's just a cool picture.
It is a cool picture. I always love that sort of shot when you can do that. Okay.
I thought it was kind of interesting. You guys are doing the Hex Tech stuff as well. I didn't realize that what is it, Thunder something?
Thunderhead.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Thunderhead did that, because all the all the Hex Tech stuff that we have in the store, for example, is all the Gale Force 9 stuff.
Right. Yes.
It's all their like pre-cast, pre-painted.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So let's I'll give you I'll spill the tea here. We'll get into who owns what and where and how all that works. About a year ago, excuse me, about a year ago, a company up in Canada called Steel Warrior was the main producer for Hextech. Hextech was a line of terrain developed by a lovely man named Chris Wales, and he goes by Thunderhead, and he basically licensed Steel Warrior Studios to print those, and they also sold all the STLs. And then paid him royalties based on sales of both of those things. About I guess it was less than a year ago at this point, but sometime in the fairly recent past, Steel Warrior went out of business. They had some issues, and it just wasn't worth them carrying on anymore as a business. So Chris took his IP for all of these buildings, these designs. And we had a conversation with him, and so we're doing 3D printing of his line of terrain. There's a ton of it. We're not even producing all of it yet because he just has this enormous catalog of stuff. So we've been more or less prepping and releasing, a few sets at a time. In the meantime, he was also approached by Gale Force 9 to do Battlefield in a Box. They wanted to do something for BattleTech, but weren't able to do an official deal with Catalyst. So they kind of did the next best thing, which is work with Chris over at Thunderhead to produce terrain based on his designs, which are honestly kind of the industry standard for BattleTech at this point. He's really worked those designs to a razor's edge. They work really well for gameplay, especially for Classic, but they're also very usable and functional for Alpha Strike as well. So they being Gale Force 9, produces the cast pre-painted stuff for that line. And while those are being produced for a particular quarter, we don't sell prints of those, and he doesn't sell the STLs. And then once they run through that production run and they switch over to a couple of other sets from his catalog, then we get to sell the stuff that was from last quarter, and we pull down the stuff that they're doing now. There's a few overlaps, like roads will always be available in all places, but if they pick a particular set of buildings, then we kind of trade places and sell around each other. So we sell the raw 3D prints. Chris over at the Thunderhead website sells the STLs, and Gale Force 9 sells the pre-painted stuff.
Right. So
that's all there is to know.
A nice sweep there.
I like it.
But yeah, definitely head to the site, the Death Ray Design site, and check those out. I was taking a browse through there this afternoon. It's a lot of very cool stuff there.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah. One of the reasons that I wanted to I guess explain all of that is because right after Steel Warrior went under, there were a lot of people who thought that Steel Warrior owned all those designs, and we're just like, well, I guess we'll never get that again. But we've been trying to evangelize to people these designs still exist. You can come and buy them from us or Gale Force or the STLs.
Yeah,
please, they're still here.
Come and get them. Looking good. Speaking of cool things that I guess people will be able to get. What a terrible segue. Worst segue ever. We have a couple of preview shots. So looking at what Death Ray Designs is going to be producing in the future. The first one is coming up is a cool suit.
So this is the Devil Dog, and this one has a little bit of a backstory here. We had some concept art commissioned, and then we made the model, and then we were going to release a really like a giant like art print version of the thing actually last Christmas, and then not to get into like wildly personal territory here, but I had a day job, and economics being what they are, they decided that my services were no longer required. And so I went full time at DRD, and this was one of the things that was like, I was about to spend a ton of money on making molds and things for this just as kind of a Christmas lark throwaway kind of item, and I was like, yeah, we need to hold back on that one.
Sure.
I'm like, I don't know what our finances are looking like right now, so this one's got to go by the wayside until I come back around to it. And now we've come back around to it. So we've got this as one of the up and coming models for one of our faction sets. I don't have a lot of other details that I can share right now, but there are 3 other weight classes that'll go along with it that share similar aesthetics. And it will likely... Yes. Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, the little like spherical head for sure. But yeah, like we've got actually the part of it that I can talk about right now that I'm like it is like consuming most of my brain, and I can't wait to get this thing out, is a new supplement mostly focused on melee and close quarter combat. Because one of the things that I really enjoy from the game, from Steel Rift right now, is trying to find ways to make smash attacks happen. So like being able to get in and, you know, brawl with something and you know, smash up lights and mediums. But it's hard to make that happen consistently. Like there's not enough, it's kind of a plan B a lot of times, the way that the game is structured. And I wanted to bring out a new set of upgrades and weapons and various other things that make melee not just possible, but practical and effective. So adding things like reach weapons or, you know, extra thruster sort of abilities that like tack on to other orders so that, you know, you get a little bit of a boost and then you make a melee attack. So you've got kind of like a last second, like ram kind of thing. Really helps to get some of those slower, heavier mechs into combat. Because otherwise, like, you know, your heavies and your ultra heavies are like, they're almost never going to get into close combat. Like, right. Somebody has to really mess up for them to get into close combat.
Somebody has to not pay attention a lot.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Yes. So this is part of that, because, you know, half of it is make smash attacks and, you know, hitting people with giant swords or giant axes or a giant, you know, basically lightsaber thing. Is one half, and the other half is close quarters weapons and you know, being really effective in short range ranged combat. So
okay, awesome. And the final image that I've got here is I would say inspired by the Osprey. Has a very Osprey kind of feel.
A little bit, yeah, yeah. It's got some of that DNA there. This is another one of our 6 mil models. So we've got obviously our Steel Rift line, which is 6 mil, but we also have a more generic 6 mil sci-fi line that is frequently a place where Austin just gets to make things that he thinks look cool.
Okay.
So,
nice.
You know, if there's something that I'm like, you know what, I think that would be really fun, or oh, that would be a really nice sort of alt version of, you know, a thing for BattleTech or whatever. You know, if the I don't know, if fancy strikes me, you know, I'll you know, sit down and work on various designs. Joe and I powered through I don't know, what was it, like 10 designs in one weekend?
Yeah, yeah.
And I had my list of ideas and stuff, and then we just started like powering through trying to like pick and choose what looked interesting and what we thought would work well as a model. And that other line that we have is called Solar Shift.
Okay.
And so this is some of our new Solar Shift stuff. This model and those other 9 unnamed designs at the moment will all be releasing during our sort of finale Black Friday sale stuff. So
Okay. Cool.
they're coming real soon.
Awesome.
Gentlemen, I need to step away. I apologize. Is it okay?
Yeah. Sure thing.
Be right back.
No worries. Okay.
All right.
Well, what I'll be doing now. So I think that brings us to the end of the material that you sent us through.
Yeah.
Our, with Joe gone, now might be the time for us to jump into taking a look at each episode. We always take a look at the photos from the Facebook group. We have the Build Paint Play community group. Link also below. If anybody wants to go and check that out, come and join us.
Tell your friends. Spread the word.
Spread the word, indeed. So we have because we didn't have a show last week. We've got quite a few to zoom through. So,
Right.
but we'll make sure we give enough time for them to come up so you can check them out. First up, we've got a photo from Andrew Schaefer. I think this might have been the first time that Andrew's posted in the group, but it is I think it's a Dark Angel Smash Captain. He's got one of the new Assault Intercessors jump packs there, and a big Hazard Stripe fist. What's that?
That's a Smash Captain.
Yeah. So he's got that there. Those Hazard Stripes looking really cool there, Andrew. I think it's always fun. I always enjoy doing those. I noticed in the transfer sheets that you've got a sheet that full of the Hazard Stripes.
Yeah.
Checks,
We
like
never have too many. And we've got them in a bunch of different colors and also in clear. So like white and clear, black and clear.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you can paint your yellow down first and then put the black and clear stripes over it. Nice.
Or what happened, whatever, you want some red, I hear you like red.
Jake definitely loves the red. But yeah, looking great there, Andrew. Nice work. Nice work. Next up.
See, with yours, I would buy the white checks so I could put them over my red armor.
There you go.
There we go. Next up, we've got an Imperial Fist Terminator from AT Web. Looking good. Looking very nice. It's a nice sort of subtle sort of micro damage there as well. Little chips sort of through the yellow into that brown undercoat below.
There we go. Now I see him.
But yeah,
He looks good. That is a vibrant yellow.
it is, isn't it? Yeah, nice and solid. Got some good orange undertones in it.
Yep.
Looking nice. Great work, AT. Looking cool. Next up, you'll probably recognize these, Jake. So this is
I'll let you know.
Ben Fail. Ben, Jake's business partner.
His Blue Dragon army.
Yep. So we've got what do we got? 5 blue dragons there. I think at the moment, yeah, looks like
I think it's 5. He's got it's 4 of the smaller like riders, and then the big guy, and then he's waiting until next week to get the that Iona Stormborn box with him on a dragon, and then 2 more of the big dragons. So that'll be Ben's whole army. It is gross.
Yep.
I was like,
2,000.
it's just gonna be 8 dragons.
2,000 points of dragons. Nice.
Awesome.
But no, they definitely look good. Ben also said that he's been excited about painting up Age of Sigmar stuff recently. So he trawled through his pile of shame and pulled out, is it Catacross?
Yeah, Catacross. That is a great model, by the way. He is just super cool.
So this is the he's basically the leader of the Ossiarch Bone Reaper faction, right?
He's definitely not a Necron.
Right.
Yeah, but this model is just great. And it's such a cool model too. There's so much going on. There's like him standing up there with all of his like his cool shield and his sword. He's got his little cloak going on, and then he's got like the guy at the bottom like holding up the scroll thing. It's like your shopping list, my lord, and he's like, yes. He's like, add Cheez-Its to that. And then there's like a guy to the right, and like his generals off to the left. It's there's so much going on in this model, but it's so great.
Yeah, that's like a ready-made diorama on a base.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I love the way that it works in the game as well. With the you have the different abilities. Basically, as it takes wounds, you lose the ability from each of the sort of the generals that dies first.
Gotcha.
Before you get through to actually inflicting wounds on Catacross. But
Really
yeah, beautiful work there, Ben. Looking great. Next up, we've got a piece from Bing Lee from it was at Moonstone, Moonglum, Moonblade.
Yeah, it's Moon something miniatures.
I think it's Moonstone, but yeah, beautiful little sprite riding a bug.
Yeah, I think that's Moonstone.
Yep, a great sort of purple magenta fading through to teal on the wings.
Yeah.
Looking very cool.
Yeah, it's great. There's so much color in this model. Considering that the beetle is black, like there's just so much color going on.
Yep. I get the feeling he's got a little bit of the like the color shifting paint going on the carapace of the beetle there.
Yep.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
this is a perfect model to use some of that like pearlescent paint on.
Yeah, yeah, very definitely.
Turbo Dorks guys, those guys are great.
Yeah.
But awesome work there, Bing. Very cool. Next up, we've got everybody's favorite Mad Titan, Thanos, painted by Chris Gorka. So it's from the MCP range. But yeah, looking really good. I'm loving, particularly loving the volumes that Chris is getting on the muscles. All those overload muscles on the thighs and the.
Thanos's dimensions are so weird. It's like, dude, he you know why he needs the Infinity Gauntlet? To get clothes. That's why he needs it. Like,
right.
No, you're right. The subtlety in the transitions between the shadows and the highlights on all the musculature is really nicely done. Like it really pushes the scale to feel like he's much bigger because of that, as opposed to just letting actual natural lighting take care of that.
even like on his face and on his bare hand.
Yeah.
Like the tones he has on the purple. Now, if this was my model, I would have painted his legs the same color as his hands, so it would look like he has no pants on. That's just phenomenal.
That's the way you would have done it. I'd have been tempted to do like shorts. I would have like puttied some shorts on him.
Just to make everybody really uncomfortable. Yeah, give him like some like Daisy Dukes, like just paint a little bit in the back.
Totally. Yep. That would have been great. Fantastic, but no, beautiful work there, Chris. Another great one from Chris coming up is a Dark Angels chaplain, Primaris chaplain there. That lovely classic red pistol casing. Hey Joe, welcome back.
Just looking at
I missed some. No.
I'm sorry. You'll have to go back and check them out.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
There's good stuff there, man.
Yep. Definitely nice. But that the red bolter casing there is classic Dark Angels. But
I think my favorite part about this, and it's super subtle, is the gold on the skull is great. Like there's so much dimensionality there. But then at the very top of his knee pad, and at the very top of his bolt gun arm shoulder, there's just a little line of like Dark Reaper to like really make that edge pop. It's such a subtle thing, but it's great.
Yep. Absolutely fantastic. Beautiful work there, Chris. Next up, we've got a couple from Cliff Edders. Following the spooky show 2 weeks ago, Cliff posted up Carver from Malifaux. So it's another great Malifaux piece. A wonderful scarecrow with a jack-o'-lantern for a head.
Very
Super cool.
nice.
Yep.
Oh, and it's got a K bar.
Yeah. But
I thought he was riding a broom. I was like, what am I looking at? That's a broom. I thought it was a broom. No, it's a knife.
yep.
He's riding a knife. It's a little more dangerous.
It's a little more dangerous. Yeah.
He's living life on the edge, right?
Oh boy!
Absolutely.
I was like, "There's a fun in here
There
somewhere."
is. It's there.
Yeah, jokes galore.
But
That's good.
yeah, beautiful work there, Cliff. Thanks for sharing that. Cliff is also working on Tale of Mall Warlords. That's the name that we've given for everybody else working on the project outside of it, outside of the four of us. So Tale of Mall Warlords, he's working on some Ultramarines, and his Ballistus Dreadnought here is looking fantastic. Great work in progress.
Coming along. Yeah.
I think next week I'll probably talk about some of my observations about the differences between my feelings about basing and Cliff's feelings about basing. and when we do the basing, it's a very different. We're on a very different schedule. Where whenever I see Cliff's stuff, it's like, this is the basing is not working for me. But we'll have a chat about that. I think it'll be good. But yeah, always love seeing Cliff's stuff. Definitely cool. Thanks for sharing that one. Next up, we have... Oh, this is Dallas. Painted this. Dallas Hutzel.
Dallas Hutzel, yeah, he's a good buddy of mine. He was one of my first customers when I took over the Natick store.
Oh, nice. Nice.
He's down in Louisiana, I think.
Is that why he's painting Blood Angels?
Maybe. I mean, they are the best.
Heavy
so
influence from
Oh, there we go.
somebody in the
Maybe.
in the show. But yeah, another jump pack assault intercessor. I think he said he's got 4 more to go after this to fill out the squad. But
Yeah, off in the distance to the left, you can see another one, and then I see Dante.
yep.
Yeah.
And that red blob looks like I think that's a dreadnought,
It could be.
maybe? I can't see what that is. Like behind the pot of paint on the left.
Yeah. It's tall enough to be a dreadnought
Yep.
for sure.
But
Dreadnought's got to be taller than that pot of paint, though. Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's two assault marines on top of each other.
just lying on the side.
Oh, I can't tell.
Maybe it's one in the foreground and one in the
maybe.
you know.
But anyway, I do love the that you've gone for the classic yellow for the helmet on the submarine there. Excellent work, Dallas. Nice one.
That's one thing that always breaks up all the red is if you don't, like, I've never done Blood Angels Tactical Marines because why would you do that? But if they're basically all, if you're doing assault marines, they're either going to have yellow helmets because they're assault or gold helmets because they're honor guard.
Right.
And it just breaks up all the red.
Yeah. That's cool. Looking good. Next up, some dude is painting up some Space Marines for Tale of 4 Warlords. That would be
Some dude. Is this your stuff, Dave?
It is. So this is an impulsor. This is a kind of a work in progress shot.
Yeah.
Some dude.
Some dude.
Some dude. In better lighting. My goodness.
Yeah, a little bit better lighting. It's basically taken from like this spot over here. Currently, I've got a stack of other tanks that I'm working on in that spot. So,
Quite far along compared to last week.
yeah, yep, yeah, it's definitely coming along. But we'll get there. I've got. So what have we've got? 7 days, 1 week to get the rest of them done.
Or I guess 2 weeks ago.
Oh yes, from 2 weeks ago. You're right. Definitely. Excellent. So moving right along.
It's like a denim impulsor.
A what?
It's like a denim impulsor.
Denim
The
impulsor.
brass zipper. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
It's all covered in denim.
Fantastic. I'll have to make sure that my next photos have like punch up the green a little bit more.
I love
less
that
of the
color.
blue
That
feel.
like sea blue or that like blue gray is just such a cool color.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Jim LaCour, who is working on some Sons of Medusa. So we've got his first Terminator squad that he's been working on. He's decided banners are going to be a thing in his army. So
Oh god, yeah, he's got all these giant back banners on these guys.
awesome.
Very, very old school, like third edition. Yeah, there we
That's
go.
what captured the banners. Was like one of the things that really captured my imagination as a child.
Yeah.
I love banners.
Yeah.
On Space Marines.
No, they're definitely.
I always thought it was hilarious because, like, once you like, it looks super cool, but then once you take a second to think about it, you're like, okay, so a Space
It's a big
Marine.
shoot me here sign.
Well, right, but I mean, like, so you're like, that's a Space Marine. You're like, so he's like 8 feet tall, 8.5 feet tall. Then he's in Terminator armor, and then he has a banner that's taller than he is on his back. And I'm like, how does he go inside anywhere? Like, he can't go in the Land Raider. He can't.
He doesn't. Everything gets brought to him. He teleports everywhere.
Yeah, they teleport him everywhere. He's like, I can't go anywhere. Like, I'll be outside, guys. Bring me out a sandwich.
Yeah.
He's got a servitor that follows him around to carry the banner when he has to go into a tank.
Right. They sort of
Two
two of them like climb on each other to unscrew the banner pole.
like 4 servo skulls in a coat. Just to be able to lift it. Yeah.
It's like when you had to unscrew your the antenna from your car.
Yeah.
If you're going into a parking garage. Nice.
So I see he drilled out the barrel of the assault cannon. Hopefully James will drill out all of the storm bolters as well.
Yep. The other thing that he's done here is for some chain fists, he's used the chain bayonet accessory from
Heresy box.
the 30K Space Marines, which looks super cool.
Yeah, they look rad. It's like a little thing that sticks out. I don't know if Dave, I don't know if you got a picture of it, but
There's
they look
a picture in the group. Head to the Facebook group and check it out. But yeah, definitely looking good.
I think he said he got that from. I think Duncan was doing that on his one of his podcasts.
I think you're right. Next up, we've got some photos from Kelly Rowe. Kelly's previously been showing us a lot of Marvel Crisis Protocol, but he's been photographing them on black backgrounds. This week he had a revelation, and it was like, I can actually photograph these on white backgrounds.
Yeah, and his colors immediately look so much brighter.
How vibrant those are.
They look fantastically vibrant. But also, he said that post-processing is there's much less post-processing that he has to do. So we'll probably be seeing most of Hilly's stuff coming through on this. So this is Rogue and is it Jean Grey?
Yeah, Jean Grey.
So
or Marvel Girl, depending on
okay.
what she's going by that particular day. But yeah, I love Rogue. That classic Rogue with her like bandana and her leather jacket is just like one of my favorites.
Definitely cool. But then we've got some Ultron bots. I love this little swarm base. It's
there's 3 of them.
It's very cool.
Yeah,
it's
these
4
are
of them. Yeah,
cool. 4 of them.
nice. 4 of them on there, which is crazy.
5 technically. There's one coming up out of the ground.
Oh, you're right. I didn't notice that. That's amazing. Yeah, check that out. 5 of them.
Those are great.
Yeah, they look.
The new Earth's. It's the new Earth's mightiest
Yeah.
starter for Crisis Protocol. So there's all new sculpts of the original models, and then they added 3 more models. So they added this. They added the alternate pose of Captain Marvel as binary, and then it's technically her with like the war helmet on, so she has a mohawk.
Yep.
Which I'm a huge fan of, obviously. And then there's Winter Soldier, who they added.
Right.
So now it's 13 models instead of 10.
Cool. Nice.
But the new sculpts are amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about where this one comes. This is MODOK. Is that also from that set? The alternate sculpt, Scientist Supreme.
So that's the alternate MODOK because there's he's not in that box, but there's 2 MODOKs. There's MODOK and then there's MODOK Scientist Supreme. I thought it was kind of hilarious. I was like, really? Like we need a second MODOK? But
I know.
apparently I'm unaware of the draw of MODOK. So
Well,
I love the flat work on this paint job. It looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That face is amazing, isn't it?
it's
really
good.
I always have always seen. I'm guessing I'm not the only person in the room, but it has always seen MODOK as like super goofy. But
He is super goofy.
Yeah.
He is cyber Humpty Dumpty is what he is.
yes. But yeah, Kelly's work on the face there is just incredible. Looks awesome. Beautiful work, Kelly. Thanks
Even the
for sharing that.
sculpt, I do like the added like the way his arm is pointing. He has that extra like sort of buckle to his elbow where he's like pointing.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Like that is some comic book art right there.
It is. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely super cool.
Yeah, but Kelly killed this. There's so many. The cool thing about this is there's so many colors going on without it seeming busy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
True.
And not only just different colors, but different sort of surface treatments too, like the sort of metallic purple armor pieces, and then you've got the brassy bronze stuff, but then you also have essentially light effects from the fire. You've got rust and concrete, skin, hair. It all looks right.
It's all got its different, different texture, different finish approach.
You can actually see the gingivitis in this paint job. It's amazing. Like right there. Kelly, this guy looks great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Next up, we've got some photos from Christian Simonson. First up, we've got a couple of lunar wolves.
Yeah, Christian has radically become like one of my favorites. It's very like, I don't want to say it's not quite Blanjitsu, but it's very Blanjitsu inspired. Like his stuff just looks rad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very grim. Christian's got a great Sons of Horus force, so he's been dabbling with these lunar wolves, the pre Sons of Horus looking models. But so these are made from the new Mark III sculpts.
He did such a cool job with like the two different OSLs on that model.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like the cool side with the power sword. It's like on his like transverse crest and his shoulder plate and his face plate, and then you've got like the warm side from the plasma pistol, and it's like warming up his arm and like his left side. It's a really cool effect.
Yep. Absolutely awesome.
Great.
Christian is also working on some Beast Snagger orcs. So he's been applying that same sort of grimdark sort of look to them, and this I think Beast Snagger Boy, I think they're called, or Beast Riders. I'm not sure what they're called exactly, but just that squig that he's riding is just super ferocious.
Yeah.
They're coming through in a minute, but looking
Like the
great.
rust on the spear, and on his foot, on his like cyber leg.
Yeah.
And the jaw of the squig too.
And his helmet reminds me of the old Rough Riders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Same, metal cap with the spike and the fringe.
Yeah. That very sort of Mongol kind of look.
Yeah.
Apple says snake bite for the win. He's definitely a
Yeah.
snake bite. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And quickly, here's the Orc War Boss. I think this is the remake based on the original, on the Assault on Black Reach, I think. Orc War Boss monopose, but looking great. Again, loads of great corrosion on there.
Yeah.
With that beautiful orc skin tone showing through.
And
Like he looks greasy. Like his like his pants and just the amount of like layering and effect on this model.
Yep. Looking awesome. And then, of course, Christian went through, went and put them all together into a rendition of a scene from Ullanor during the Great Crusade, when the Lunar Wolves were part of the force that defeated the Orcs at Ullanor. And this is before they became the Sons of Horus, of course.
Before it all started to go downhill.
Yeah. Yep.
You're still pulling for Horus at this point.
Yeah. This is peak good guys, right?
This is peak good guys. You're like, I know this is gonna suck when he goes bad.
Exactly. But yeah.
So, in this one, I really like the weird boy in the back with the pink hair.
Yeah.
That's
He's great.
Isn't that Wozgrod Wartsnagger or Zodgrod?
Yeah,
Zodgrod
it's
Wartsnagger.
the main character.
Yeah.
He's
awesome.
great.
Fantastic. Beautiful work there, Christian. Lovely.
yeah.
Next up, we've got some pieces from Matt Bowles. Matt's also joining us on the Tale of More Warlords. Matt is painting up a Tyranid army, and he said that the first gargoyle that he painted here, or first, like one of these, is the first model he's painted in 15 years. So
Wow, really?
very cool that we've been able to get you back to painting there, Matt.
Hell yeah.
Super
These
cool.
look super solid.
They do look
Yeah,
great, don't they?
Really good. Really good.
That was really funny. Oh, and look what it's on. It's on Dave's book right there.
Yeah, it's on volume 1 of the Art of series. Again, no, there unfortunately no. I didn't put a link down below to that one.
I hope you can tell. He says, "I hope you can tell I hate current flying bases."
Yes. Actually, one of my favorite ones in this group. I couldn't actually quite show it in this. I think it's
You got
the.
Malev in there. Sorry, I didn't mean. Our friend Malev is in the chat.
Oh, cool! Excellent. Hey, Malev. Great to see you. Thanks for joining. But I think it's the gargoyle in the center rear is mounted on a dozer blade, an old Imperial guy, like Lehman Russ dozer blade that's jammed in the ground, weathered up with rust. Looks fantastic. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the attaching the tail to something that's grounded.
Yeah.
Like this is one of my. Well, you might be able to see it on screen, but I know the people on screens can't see it, but Joe can see it in our chat.
I can see it.
Yeah.
So for those of you at home, he's holding up an Inceptor, and it's basically like the new Assault Marines, where he has built up the base with like bits of rubble and like
Is it pinned?
pieces of
It is.
building picking up, and then he's glued him onto that.
Yep. Pinned onto that. So cool. Anyway, but yeah, beautiful.
I don't know how many of the old school flying bases I broke as a child, but
They're the worst. Like that clear plastic is nowhere near as durable as the gray polystyrene.
the
So
third
if you
ed
use
box
them at all, they just snap.
with the Dark Eldar, is it third? Yeah, it was third.
Yeah,
right?
finish.
Dark Eldar and the land speeder. I think it snapped off in like because I was 14 maybe. It didn't last long.
I broke so many of those.
Yep. But
No,
no,
but Matt was really funny. So Matt, when we talked a couple weeks ago about starting the new armies, Matt was going to do Space Marines. So he called me up and he was like, "Hey, do you guys have any more repulsors?" And I was like, "We don't." And then he's like, "Oh, do you know if I can't find them anywhere?" And I was like, "I'm trying to scrounge up 3. I've got 2 so far. I've got 1 coming from a buddy of mine, so I need to find 1 more." And he was like, "Yeah, I just can't find them." And then a couple days later, he's like, "I just decided I'm just going to do the Tyranid at half the box." That's what he's doing. That's how he got onto this kick. But they look great. I'm super psyched. So
excellent.
great. Keep up the good work, Matt.
Very cool. Just quickly for Rob's benefit. That's what we were talking about. That'll come up on the screen in a minute. Everybody can see it.
It's really good, guys. It's worth the wait. You'll like it.
Yep.
It's worth the wait.
Rob said, "If only Dave had a camera." I do,
Yeah,
of
seriously.
course. We all know that.
There we go.
But
There we go.
excellent.
Ta-da.
Now that you've seen it. So next up, we've got some Cadian zombies from Mick Palazzi in Australia. Again, I think this is he posted these up for the spooky Halloween
Nice.
kind of look. But yeah, it's always fun to take those old GW zombies and mash them together with Cadian parts. It's definitely a classic for years.
The guy on the right is the best. He's like psyched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, rigor mortis has set in. Oh, I can't move the gun." But no, definitely looks super cool. And of course, that wonderful classic spooky glowing green ooze on the base, and the black and purple.
You gotta have the green glowing ooze. If you don't have the green glowing ooze, how will you know it's spooky?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it's been green glowing news since Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It has definitely. But speaking
I
of
don't know how it's going. I don't know.
speaking of green, like glowing green and purple, this is a cool bust that was painted up by Mike Hughes, a great sort of Frankenstein's monster caricature, which just looks awesome. Beautiful work from Mike there.
Oh wow.
Again, this is part of the response to the spooky episode.
It's amazing the impact. My eye is drawn to the face and then to the bird, and how much the blue of the bird
Yeah.
it complements the rest of the miniature. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
The little bits of like red and purple on the bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
I really set it off.
Those pigeon, the shimmering pigeon wing sort of
Yeah.
colors. But yeah, it does look fantastic.
It's such a strange sculpt too.
Yeah, it's like a very, very like weird character version of Frankenstein,
Yeah.
or sorry, of the monster, I should say. But it's great.
Yeah, it does look
Very
awesome. Love it.
Looking
Beautiful work there,
Halloween.
Mike. Thank you.
Like he just got a bunch of Sour Patch Kids. He's like,
All the liquid has gone from his face.
Yep.
yeah,
He's a husk of a man.
Yep.
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 Nice. Excellent. And Rob Jedi, who's in the chat, Rob Sacklock from Australia, also from Australia, posted up these 2 orc war bosses at the end of October. The one on the right with the blue armor, he gifted that to the owner of the Hall of Heroes gaming store in Campbelltown, Sydney. It's one of the guys that he used to work with, Matt Reichart, runs that store. So back in the day, over 20 years ago when I worked in Australia for GW. But yeah,
I like his
definitely
ball cap.
cool.
Yeah, the leather cap he's got on.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
it green stuff?
Yep.
Sculpted?
I'm not sure. I think this might be a 3D print. But Rob is in the chat. He'll be able to let us know. But yeah, it's great. Definitely
I
cool.
like the orc glyphs on the side of his armor too. That's really neat.
Yeah, it's got a very sort of blood axe feel
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
But of course,
The
Death Skull paint job.
heavy wear on the armor, like on the left leg, the leading leg in the photos there.
Yep.
I like on the left side one where it's I guess it's Bad Moons. The heavy wear going down to like straight metal and it being like polished metal too actually looks really cool.
Yep.
As soon as I guess if you were to rust that up at all, it's probably gonna it's gonna take away from that contrast because it's gonna blend into the yellows and the oranges of the paint on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good point.
You'll be able to keep that separate. But beautiful work there, Rob. They look great. There we go. Printed lads from Mezgeik. The kit has different head options. But yeah, great digital sculpt. STL's available out there.
I love the cigar, and I love the idea of the orc being so big and his mega armor being so powerful that there's a turret on his back with a grot in it.
Right. Yeah. It's always good when you can stick another grot in there.
Yeah, like this orc counts as a technical, so there's like a heavy weapon point on his back. It's ridiculous.
Fantastic. It's awesome. Great work there, Rob. Thanks for sharing. Definitely cool.
Those are great.
And then next up, we've got two final images from Stephen Ryder, who's Tabletop Super Show in the chat. So Stephen's first one is a troll. I think this is an old Reaper troll. We're going to have to let us know, Stephen. But he's been working on this. A great, again, a great Halloween piece. Creepy Halloween piece.
It's not quite cast in a single plane, but it's definitely got that like.
Ralpartha troll.
Oh, it's Ralpartha.
got the-
Yeah, it's definitely got that feel to it. It's from the early '80s, if not.
Yeah,
1980.
I love those old. In hindsight, those miniatures, like some of the ones I did for This Is Not a Test, have that same kind of, single plane pour when I painted them up. I just love the way those look. Nostalgic.
He put the bone in his hand, so it's the troll from the original hardcover printing of Monster Manual.
Right. Yep.
Very cool.
Definitely cool. Awesome stuff there. Thanks for that, Stephen.
That is a serious nerd deep cut right there.
Yeah.
Deep cut.
Excellent. And then the final one that we've got from Stephen is he's been doing some more work on his epic squats. Ooh. And this is the I think it's the Golgotha artillery piece.
Oh, God, this thing.
I think it's the name of it. It's the enormous artillery cannon.
I don't remember the name of it, but it's something insane.
Yeah.
Warhammer 40K Epic was my first Warhammer game.
Oh,
Really?
it's so good.
It was,
Okay.
yeah. My dad was like, "You get more Space Marines."
You get more bang for your buck with
And
this.
I'm like, "Okay, Dad." And then I got into 40K afterwards, which is such a strange path to take. But that's
I started
Sure.
collecting 40K. I started collecting
Goliath.
40K, but I started playing Epic first.
Right. Nice. Yes. Goliath cannon. It's called, not Golgotha, but Goliath.
Speaking of more of those clear plastic flying bases,
yeah. Oh, there. Luckily, that model is probably not heavy enough to make it snap or break if you're careful with it.
sure.
Yeah. But yeah, no, looks great. I love that. Love that blue. The yellow runes look absolutely awesome, and that the lovely the yellow checkers around the top there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, looking nice. Basing looks
I like
awesome
it.
too.
I like it's just big enough that one of the squads could climb up there and climb inside like he's at the circus.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
the little domed helmet on. Yeah, it'd be fantastic. But no, he looks super cool there, Stephen. Thanks for that. And we did get a photo through from Scott. He didn't post this in the group, but he sent it through to me. Scott Reedham, who we haven't seen in the chat tonight. Hope he's okay. It is a pin vice drill. So thanks for that. A couple of weeks ago, we had this as the accompanying photo.
Oh, yeah.
So Scott was excited that we'd spend 2 hours with a quarter of the real estate taken up with a pin vice. But
That's the show mascot. That's the show mascot. It's Penny.
Penny
Oh,
the
Penny.
pin vice.
Is this some fresh lore? Is this established fact, or is this coming out right now?
That's Penny. He's the Primaris version of the pin vice because he replaced the old all metal one.
Yep. Excellent. Rob says, didn't I post the squad pics of my Bad Moons 2? You did, Rob. It's so definitely check out the Facebook group, the Build Paint Play community Facebook group, and you will find them there. Definitely. Super cool.
I mean, there's always going to be more pictures on the Facebook than we have here. We just can't do them all.
Always.
But yeah, there's some great stuff in there.
Yep. Definitely great. So that brings us to the end of another show. Oh my goodness, we've run 2 hours this time.
Wow.
Lots of fun, lots of talking. I thought we were still at like an hour 40, but awesome.
Nope.
So glad you guys could join us. Thanks very much for letting us know a bit more about the origins of Death Ray and the excitement that you guys have got with going through designing more miniatures for Steel Rift and Solar Shift. Is that what it was? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You got it.
And
Thank you so much for having us.
and definitely, if you are in the market for some custom decals, go and check these guys out too.
For sure.
Or some tournament terrain for 40K.
Tournament terrain 40K. As we were saying, link down below. Check that out. And also link to the Army Painter. Thank you very much, Army Painter, for being our Season 3 sponsor. We're super excited. It's going to be very good. He's just stretching there a little bit, Jake. Getting the kinks out.
Well, if I'm too long in one position, I start to get a little stiff. So
Awesome.
it's not awesome.
No. It's great that you're able to stretch out there. Just going to check the chat one last time. So Steven said, I've been using one of those pretty much constantly, putting chunky lead and metal together. Talking about Penny there. Artists, you have your quest to get a Penny the Pin Vice mascot drawn up for the show.
It'd be great. I want it to be in the same style as like Clippy from Microsoft Word.
Right. Well, apparently Ronnie from Mantic has Fisty Glue Man.
Of course he does.
So we should do something too, right? Excellent. Great show. Thanks, Death Ray Designs.
Thank you so much for having us. It was a lot of fun, and we had a great time chatting about ourselves and looking at lots of excellent paint jobs.
Yep. Super cool. No, I really appreciate it.
That's the magic of our whole show. That's all we do. And
Yeah, it's a great show.
we talk cool stuff. That's it. That's all we do.
Yep. It's a tough format, but somebody's got to do it. Really. I think that's
Right.
the case.
Yeah. Noble, and
Noble, yep.
community needs it.
What show are you guys going to be at next?
Next show that we'll physically be at will probably be Adepticon next year.
Okay.
We are trying to add more shows to our lineup, but it's hard to get into shows you're not already established at. So we're trying to get our hooks into more shows. I'd love to eventually get to Gen Con, but that's a beast. That's a beast of a show.
It is.
And there's a few others that are on the short list to try to see if we can.
I love shows. I love working shows. I love going to shows.
Yep.
There's a double handful of ones that I think you guys could do. We could talk about this, offline. But I think doing more shows is great, especially because like you guys make such cool looking stuff, and your booth looks great at Adepticon, so it pulls people in. And like your price point is super straightforward, so it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna grab these guys and paint up some chonky mechs. Like, cool, next. I mean, that's an easy decision.
That's the idea.
That's the hope.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay.
Oh, nice. There you go. He's talking about my shadow. There we go.
Yep. Awesome.
Dave, are we good?
We are good.
Are you ready?
We are all ready. I am ready for the outro.
Oh, okay. So thanks everybody for joining us. It was awesome talking to us tonight. Sorry we ran a little long. Huge thanks to Austin. Huge thanks to Joe. Let's go Death Ray Designs. Big shout out to our sponsor, Army Painter. Make sure you go down below and keep an eye out for their stuff over the next couple of months. Like I said, you will see more. Check out Uncle Adam, who we had on a couple of weeks ago. Check out his podcast. He talks about the paints. We'll see you guys next week, and we'll post to let you know. But next week, I believe we're going to have Jeff
and John. Yep.
And John on to go over the next episode of Tale of More Warlords. And this weekend, you can check out Dave and I will be on What's New with Mike and Jeff. It is I know I always watch them on Facebook.
It's a Facebook live stream. Facebook live stream.
But they're super great guys, and like I don't know what they have in store for us, but I'm sure it'll be great. So thank you guys again, and as always, don't forget to
build, paint, play.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.